Welcome to the Foxhole, everyone. Happy Saturday morning. It's early for me. It's probably not early for you, but thanks for joining us today. This is our second stream, and I say our, so it's not just going to be me on here. It's going to be me and Anthony Gonzalez Clark, the artist of Seasons, and we're going to be here together showing some pages off from Seasons volumes 1 and 2, and also just talking and hanging out and having a good time. So please, show us that you're here. Comment if you have any questions about Seasons or what we're working on, or writing questions, artist questions, just to say, hey, we really appreciate it. We love to see your support and for you to be joining us today, this morning. And, growing up, I'd always, watch, of course, Saturday morning cartoons. And I've always loved Saturday mornings. And I thought this would be a great time to, stream and hang out. And we can't really do that anymore, being older. So, but anyways, so yeah, just check us out. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and so yeah, hang out with us today. And we're going to be showing off some art. And please subscribe to Foxhole Comics on YouTube. I'm doing the Art of Writing Comics YouTube series where I'm showing off my favorite comics, the best written comics that I think that you'll enjoy. And if you're a creator and you want to be a better writer and creator, I really recommend checking that series out. And so yeah, let's get into it today. I'm going to bring Anthony on. Hey, man.
Oh, hey there. I was just reading your book, and what do you know? I drew it too. This is Seasons. Seasons right here.
That's it. Right, I got my copy. Yeah.
You get your copy? You do. And do you have your copy? Huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Right there. Look at that nice, sweet book. Look at that hardcover. And these are all like free fonts that I found on the internet that they can't sue us for. None of this here. All the fonts here. And there was the fonts that we used in the book. I had to purchase those. I purchased those fonts a long time ago, and but not these ones. These are free, and that's what's so funny, dude. It's like, so I like on Adobe, like they give you a bunch of fonts, yeah. And so now I'm like, I didn't know that. There was so much stuff that I was just like learning about all the font stuff that I could do. But like Adobe Photoshop, like they give you, like you have like a whole thing of fonts. You can use that for whatever. You can use that all over the place. And Blambot is on there. So Blambot, if anybody doesn't know, that's the comic book. You go to the comic book, like comic book fonts, and Blambot is usually the one that comes up, and they have like a ton of stuff in there. Yeah, so Blambot is on Adobe, so I'm going to be using some more of those later on. But generally, all of the fonts that we use are either free for commercial use, or I've purchased them or something like that, like way in the past. So there you go.
That's really cool. I mean, like it's it's helpful to us, and like you don't have to like spend money on that kind of stuff, and also we can kind of create our own style, like our own lettering style for like how we want the comic to look, and like we have our own set of what we like to see and how the comic looks specifically. And I love how like they give you all those things for free. That's always really nice. And there seems to be a lot of great, like, and I know you've discovered like a lot of new stuff that over the years as we've been working on this that you didn't even know about, or you've just been learning about, that you're like, whoa, like that would have been helpful to know early on.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff like that. But even with like the fonts and everything, like some of my favorite creators and stuff, like they were making their own stuff. Like so you can basically just like from the just the whole page, everything about the book, you can create everything yourself. I mean, obviously you can just like kind of write in everything if you wanted to, but you can make your own fonts. And I have made my handwriting like it's just it's not handwritten, meaning like right, but it's like just regular my regular script, I guess you could say, right? And so I have that. I actually made that into a font. But it doesn't look that good. It doesn't look. It's not very good to use for the comic books or something like that.
Can you imagine, like before like digital lettering and like how they used to have to like hand write all the lettering for comics and
Right.
stuff. Like that's just like that's an
Yeah.
art in itself. Like
Uh-huh.
and like I've looked at older comics and um, it's insane to see like what they were able to do. And
Hmm.
um, I can imagine like if you were that letterer and you made a mistake, how pissed you would be.
Right.
But you're like,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah. See, how much I know, I don't know. Like, what do you know about lettering, like in old comic books back in the day? Like, what do you know
well,
about it?
I just know that it was a pretty just like with how much coloring has improved on a digital level, like
Hmm.
lettering has improved so much to where, there are certain like colors that they weren't able to print during like the Silver Age of Marvel, like when Stan Lee was writing, Incredible Hulk. The reason why like Hulk was gray in the beginning was because there was a coloring like error with it, and so like he wasn't supposed to be gray, but that's how it just came out. And then they finally were
Hmm.
able to like fix that issue. And um, with lettering, I just know like how much of an extensive like process that was, and like
Hmm.
especially like looking at those old comics and seeing like how much that they crunched in there. Like Stan Lee like
Hmm.
wrote like so much, and like older writers like it's just how it was. But like there are these like paragraph, text boxes like on every single panel, and I'm just like, who lettered that?
Right.
That's
I know.
that's pretty insane.
You don't know
But
how easy we have it easy.
yeah,
It's so
exactly.
easy right now.
It's
I
so
mean,
easy to
like,
make comics like right
yeah.
now, like with all the technology.
I know. I wish I had a greater appreciation. I feel like my appreciation, I've taken a lot for granted, you know,
Yeah,
and
right.
I do not appreciate comic books the way I should, or I should have, early on or something like that. So hopefully, I get
Yeah,
to impart that to my kid as he grows up, and if he gets into comic books or something like that, to really appreciate these things, especially with movies and comics and stuff. But you made me
yeah,
think about the oh, good morning, the juke joint.
yeah. The juke joint. Hey, Justin.
Oh,
He's
you
supposed
know
to be.
him.
Yeah, he's been a fan since Lifeline. I remember he backed Lifeline, and he's a backer of Seasons Volume 2 as well.
Sweet.
So yeah.
See
Hey, good
ya.
morning. What's up, man? Hope you're doing good. Yeah, thanks for joining
Um,
us.
you made me think about the Dr. Seuss thing where somebody had
Oh
wrote.
no.
Oh yeah, never mind. It's probably going to come up on the algorithms now, and YouTube's going to censor
Right.
your show. But okay, so I'll try not to use his name. So somebody had what is it? Somebody had written a, I don't know, like a thesis statement or a thesis or a dissertation or whatever it is for like
Yeah.
art school about about Dr. Seuss's use of color. I just used the name
Uh-huh.
again. I try not to use the name, but in the books they did uh, uh, an essay about it, like, oh, the use of color in this, and the how the lighting in this color, or how the use of teal, the use of the blue, the use of the red, and all that kind of stuff, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And then one day, and then it was like a big essay, like all these analysis and the way they interpreted the colors and all that kind of stuff, and how they used it and how they applied it to all the different scenes and all that kind of stuff. And it was like this really, like really in-depth analytical whatever essay about the color used in the
Hmm.
books. And then one day she got to meet Dr. Seuss, right, in person, and she goes, "Oh, I wrote this paper. I want you to read it about the color and da 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 da." So, what did you, asking questions about the color that he used, and he goes, I didn't color the book. I just used the colors of whatever they had at the printer." So so he would draw it, hand it off to the printer, and they would just put color on it. So it had nothing to do. No one even used it. So it's like, and
Wow.
that goes into it just made me think about like going into story where it, like, people can interpret your story to mean anything that they
Oh
want it to
yeah.
mean, depending on
Right.
how they're feeling, or how they're feeling at the time, whatever they're thinking, whatever they're going through. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
the art can be bigger than the artist, and everything. But
Yeah,
anyways, it's just funny.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember like growing up, like as a kid, I would look at certain comics and, I would look at the art and I go, oh my gosh, like one person did all of this, but then I would look at then I would look at the
Yeah.
credits and as I got more interested in like creators and comic book history and seeing who worked on what they were working, and what everyone's role was. It blew my mind to see like how much actually goes into the art and how many people work together on it, and that's what makes it even like more impressive nowadays when you see that one person that's doing everything.
Yeah, right.
That's like you. I mean, that's like what you're doing.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, not to like toot our own horn here, but it's like you're doing the art, you're doing the lettering, and we're doing the colors. Like it's us. It's just us.
Yeah. Right.
It's like that's really impressive. A lot of people, they do the pencils and they'll hand it off, and they'll do the inks, and then they'll hand it off to the colorist, and then there we go. But it's all just us doing it together.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's a lot of comments, so let me get through these.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I posted this a little earlier, but hey, Terry, says, hey, Nandor, sorry I'm late. You're good, man. It's morning time, so I understand. Hope you're doing good, Terry. We got Brandon Province over on Facebook. Speaking of Seasons 2 backers, hey, Brandon, he's a local guy here in my town. He's also an artist. He's a really cool guy. How's it going, Brandon? Oh, sweet, Jarrell. Hey, Gerald.
What up?
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
So,
everyone
go check out. Yeah, everyone go check out his show, Comics Cast. Let it.
Not right now. After the show.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. Keep watching us, but like, go check it out. I'm sure he's having someone live on tomorrow, so check it out. Let's see. The Juke Joint says Robert Plant said he had no idea kids would be making out to "Stairway to Heaven" when he wrote the lyrics. Yeah, That's pretty good. That's true. I wonder how many songs have been violated. Been doing art for 2 years, just now learning gouache. Oh yeah. That's what Alex Ross does. So I've been seeing that. You've been doing some really good stuff, Justin. So keep that up. I really appreciate that work. All right, morning, gents. Stracto's illustration.
Morning.
Jeff Lemire is my favorite creator. Dude's a machine. Yeah, Jeff Lemire is really awesome. I have so much respect for him. He's done so many good stuff, and he's one of the few writers in the mainstream who like is really known for his writing, but people love his art too. And so when he's doing a book that he's just on, like Sweet Tooth, and like I really love him for his writing. I think his art is great. And I actually have this book. He did this Roughneck. He like drew and wrote this. And
how is that book? Is it?
Oh, it's great. Yeah. It's really good, and you can tell it's a really personal story to him. And but I found this like at a discount somewhere. It was like a bargain, and I was like, heck yeah, like I'm totally getting that. But it's super good, and he's an awesome guy, and I really got into him through his run on Moon Knight that he did.
Yeah, Jeff, like he's. I fell off from Black Hammer. Was it called Black Hammer?
Oh, that's awesome.
I got into about 3 issues, and then I couldn't go on. And then,
Right.
But I'm not a fan. I do like his stuff. Did he do Descender? Did he do that?
Yeah, he wrote that.
Okay,
yeah.
So that was pretty good. I just didn't continue reading it. I read the one that he did with Snyder. I didn't like that one. The ideas are always really interesting in the beginning. It always just gets me in the beginning, and then at the end, it just doesn't pull it off. It doesn't. I'm not into it. I just don't get really much into Sweet Tooth. I started getting into that, then I just didn't continue. See, there's always like something with Jeff that's like that. I begin it, I never end it because nothing's really pulling me back to it. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
But I like his ideas. So like he's thinking. I think I finished The Invisible Man, or that one about the Invisible Man.
Okay.
I think I finished that one, and then the one about the one that's wearing that underwater suit. What is that one called?
Oh, like Trillium, I think.
Yeah. Then I got through that. Yeah, those ones were pretty good.
I read that too. I liked that a lot. That did some really great like uses of the medium. Like I loved how like the parallels between the male and the female character. And but you are not the first person to tell me. I have a buddy of mine here who loves Jeff Lemire, but like he's told me like he starts out things like super strong, and then it's like hard for him to keep up with it. And I actually kind of experienced that with Gideon Falls, like that book he did with Image. It just finished, and I think it only went like 28 issues. But I stopped around like issue like 16 or 17, and it wasn't because it wasn't like great or anything. It was just more that it felt like I can wait to read this, in a collection, and like not keep up with it every month, because it kind of felt like the same thing, like over and over. Which, if you really loved it, that's all good. But it seemed like the story was just getting prolonged.
It just kind of turns into that. I don't know. But yeah, it's like, it was like like the sculptor. The sculptor started out really great, and then it just fell apart. It fell apart for me completely. No. Yeah, I can't stand that book. Oh man, I can't stand that book.
Really?
It's so well done. It's just like I was just like reading about a character that it was super depressing. It was like super depressing. Didn't go anywhere. And then I ended up, and it just, again, ending up feeling so empty. I just feel so empty. I remember reading it and being enthralled with it in the beginning, and then it just sort of like, I have to finish it, and then I finished it, and I was just like, okay, well, this was the guy who makes who writes the book on making comics and understanding comics and how to make comics. And see, this is why, like, I never recommend those books, because I don't know. He wrote a book, and he finally made a book after 20 years after I don't know when the Making Comic Books came out. I don't know.
Right. It was around. Yeah, it was around.
Like, it was like 90s, right? They started making those, and then he made those books, and so I'm not saying don't read them. There's good information, but I never finished them because I'm like, this guy didn't make any comics. And then when he made a comic, I was like, oh, so you're like. It's like you just like one of those, like it's super introspective, it's purposeless, there's no meaning to life, it's all just nothing in the end. You didn't really get much out of life. There's not much to get unless like you have status and fame and power. I don't know, whatever. And it's like it was pursuing all the wrong things. Let's just say that. And I'm like, this is the guy who goes into depth into stuff, and it was like, this is the depth of these are the depth that he goes, and I'm just like, it was very materialistic, very like surface level. It didn't go really that deep, and I was just like, So that's why I'm like, I don't recommend the Scott McCloud stuff, but
sometimes, well, like with the sculptor, for me, like I really like the questions that it asked, and maybe you might not agree with like the answers like that it gives, but like I think it asks like pretty interesting questions about like let's see, Juke Joint just posted. I like how it posed the question: how far would you go for your art? Like that's like, because he's like, super, like he has to have the perfect sculpt, or do the perfect thing, and it's like it takes over his life, and it's like he becomes this really obsessed with what his ability and what he can do, and he definitely has a kind of a downward spiral to where it leaves you questioning how meaningful is your art to, like,
like he goes, how far would you go for your art?
Well, and
See,
also
it's
he did make a deal with the devil. You know what I mean? It's
oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
it's
true.
like
Yeah,
we kind of know like that's
yeah,
not going to end well. Like
yeah. See, it's like when and then when he finally, yeah. Oh, I guess I didn't think about that either. It was like a Faustian deal.
right,
But
right,
it was like when he finally got the power to do it, he turned out to be a really shitty artist. He turned out to be terrible. Like he wasn't very good at all, and no one liked it. And then it turned out, but then also I guess it was really interesting too. It was like where it was like it turned out that the art community isn't really like they're not into it's all about funneling money. It's not about
right.
actually art.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
about that. It's actually like even let's say he was a good artist. Let's say he was, but it didn't really kind of tackle that issue either. It just sort of
hmm,
it just went like if you can't make it here, if they don't like your art, you're not a good artist. So that's what I'm
yeah,
trying to say is that like
yeah,
Scott McCloud, it wasn't like he was trying to say something about art. It wasn't really about that. It was like he wasn't so like he wanted to get in. He wanted to get somebody to fund him. He wanted to be big and famous and have his art out there because he really felt like he had something to say.
yeah,
Well, when he finally had something to say and he made the art that what it was, but nobody liked it. So it wasn't really, it wasn't like he was going after like the art community. He really thought that that was a place to be that artists should be in, like to
yeah,
be in the art community, be famous there, be a part of that crowd. And it's like no, it's like that's what I'm trying to. It's like Scott McCloud. What does he think about the art community? What does he think about all that stuff? And maybe he
yeah,
says it in there, but I don't remember the book. I've read it. I read it, but I mean, I didn't really get
yeah,
that vibe from it. It doesn't seem like he was really kind of going. Not that he had to, that you have to, but it wasn't. He wasn't really trying to say much about the art and or the art community. It just felt like oh he wasn't accepted, and therefore, and then it's like he just got more depressed that he wasn't accepted because I guess he's
yeah,
not a really good artist, and then that was it. It was just sort of like I don't know. It wasn't really saying much of anything
yeah.
to
I
me. That
know.
was my opinion. I mean, it's like that's you
Oh
know
yeah, no, I get that. And like I remember I think it's the afterword in the book or he talks about maybe I read an interview, but he talked about working on Sculptor and he said it was really daunting because he just like you said like he wrote these books on how to make comics and like, understanding comics and he was like, but I hadn't produced anything after I made those books, and so he was really like kind of fearful of like putting out something that
yeah.
broke his own rules or did something that he was like, I'm the guy that's supposed to be the one to tell you how to do it, and if I can't even do it, then I'm a complete fraud. And so I know he was like really aware of that.
Yeah.
And I do like I've read he did it's ZOT, it's called Zot, and it was
Yeah.
this like superhero, yeah, like sci-fi kind of like Flash Gordon type of book that he did before he wrote, I believe, Understanding and Making Comics, and he did those pretty young. But I have this collection, this black and white collection that is just like his pencils and inks, and he wrote it and stuff, and that I absolutely it's really good. Like it's completely different. Like
Hmm.
yeah, it's way more optimistic, way more kind of coming of age. It looks at high school life and also being kind of
Mm.
this outsider and
And
stuff. And
those were
it's
made in the
really
'90s, like before he
yeah,
did. Yeah. So I was
yeah, I
thinking
believe
like that book was like before he was like his. Now he wants to be accepted into the upper echelons of the art community, and
yeah, right,
and the mainstream kind of stuff. So he has to be more. Um, yeah, pessimistic or he has to be more dark not dark well dark I mean again it's just like
yeah,
meaninglessness. It's always about meaninglessness or something like
yeah,
that. It's
existential crisis.
yeah, I'm always just very introspective, always just thinking about uh, my needs and 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 just whining, and that's all it was, just like that's all it was. But oh, and you said something earlier about um, the the questions. What? How did you put that? You said you put it
Oh yeah,
in a good way.
like he asks, like I think the book asks like interesting questions, but maybe he doesn't like answer them to what you agree on, or sometimes stories don't answer their own questions, which I think are really interesting. Like they want you to answer that or have your own interpretation, and it's kind of like like, man, we can get into all sorts of different books, but like with like Watchmen, you read Watchmen and you finish it and you're just kind of like, oh, like kind of like the villain wins, or it doesn't.
Or the book was a sort of it kind of, I don't know if anybody in the chat, if they ever heard of Project Bluebeam, okay, and if anybody's ever read about if they've read Watchmen and they know how it ends in the comic book, not the movie, but the comic book, maybe this was like sort of like Alan Moore was sort of used that idea or something like that about Project Bluebeam. But anyways, go on.
Yeah, no, I just think that like
I was going to say something to what you were mentioning, but never mind. We'll go on with what you're saying.
Like there are a lot of people I know, and actually Grant Morrison, he's written some really great stuff. He's well beloved in the comic industry. Like I bring him up because he's one of the few people that I know that is pretty vocal about how he dislikes Watchmen, and and so it's really interesting, and the reason why is like just the outlook, or like how Moore deconstructs everything, and it leaves you kind of with a bitter pill, and you're like, man, like, are these what heroes like? Is this how they would really be? And I have a couple other friends who kind of feel the same way, where it's like it's such a good story, but they don't agree with it. And I think you find a lot of those stories where the ones that like get at you on a like intellectual or spiritual level, and you're just like, I don't agree with this, but like it's good, like like the structure, the way it's written, but it's just like the worldview or the point of view. You're just kind of like, I don't agree with this, and the reason why I like reading those books is because it challenges me, and then it makes you have to go, what's my response to this? And I like stories that make you think, of course, afterwards, after you're done with it and you keep thinking on it, and you're just like, what am I supposed to say to this, or what's my answer to this? What's my response? I love thinking about that, because you can end up on one side where you're like, this is great, I agree with everything that it has to say, or you can be like, it's good, but like I don't agree with it. Then you're just like, I just don't like this at all.
Buffalo Wild Wings, they have like that challenge, that 6-thing challenge about the hottest, whatever. The hottest, if you can finish them all, you get like, I don't know, maybe you get more hot wings or something. Now that's a challenge. Now, but hold on, wait, is there other? There's other comments here. I see a bunch of comments coming up. I think we missed like a bunch, but we went off and talked about that. But I'll respond more to what you said about the questions that he raises.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so
we got Bane Bear back. Hey,
what up, Bane Bear? What up, man?
What up? How's it going? And we got John Celestri. He said hi a little bit earlier, but he says, excuse me, like a good meal, a good comic story has all the right plot mix of salt, fat, and sugar. I like that. It's a good way to think about it. Yeah. Juke Joint says, I own a Zot book. Awesome. Me too. I actually own issue 1. Like I actually have like issue 1. A friend got it for me like for my birthday. But like the original monthly comic that came out.
Trash.
That's pretty cool. Johnny, hey Johnny, what's up? Fantastic. So happy I was able to see this live. Thanks for tuning in, man. If you have any questions, let us know. We're here for at least a little bit longer. So but yeah, Bane Bear says, I can't draw it all. My stick figures look like amputees.
Yeah, wasn't there a comic book that was made entirely of stick figures, and then it made millions of dollars on crowdfunding? Wasn't that? There's a book based off that? Something about Sword?
I don't know. Yeah. Do you remember what that's called?
And it was like there was no. I thought it was like there's not, the talent of drawing was not anywhere. Like it was It was drawn. It was like the stick figures. It was all stick figures. That's all it was. Something of the stick or something stick. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. So you're okay, Baneberry. You're doing all right.
I'm an alien nerd. Cool.
I'm an Allen nerd.
Oh, Alan. Oh, gotcha.
What's an Allen?
Sorry, an Alan nerd. Yeah, same. I haven't read a ton of Alan Moore, but
Alan Moore. He spelled it wrong. I was like, I wasn't sure.
I was like, who are we talking about? But yeah,
well, I told you about the Alan Moore thing. I can't. I just like after I could probably read his earlier stuff. I want to read Swamp Thing again. I have V for Vendetta and Watchmen and I have Tom Strong. I have a few stuff there that I like to read, but his new stuff, the stuff now today, Providence, made me feel gross. I can't read it.
I know a lot of people. Yeah, they say that was one of his low points, or like they don't like. I think on a lot, at least people that I've spoken to, that was one that they didn't really care for that much. But
it's scary. It's very dense. Reading it was scary. It's twisted. It's weird. But then it just gets to it gets about halfway through the story because I had all 3 books. I bought them all, and then I started reading them, and then I got halfway through, or no, about a quarter of the second hardcover, and I don't even want to bring it up what happened.
Yeah, right. I gotcha.
Because I think this is a family-friendly stream.
Oh yeah. We want it to be, and I know there's been I watched him do like some interviews, and there's been people that have questioned him on some of the books he's written and what he's done, and of course it's all for art.
I'm sure they were very hard-hitting questions. I'm sure they were getting down. They were getting uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm sure they were. Anyways, we'll go on.
All right. It's Bane Bear. Yes, Watchmen was a confession of Project.
Yes, a confession. There you go. That's a better way. That's a good way to put it. It's a confession of Project Living.
Look that up.
Yep, look that up. Look it up. You'll know exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah. I was thinking of reading Fables. Do you recommend it? I've always wanted to read Fables too.
He's a conservative. The guy who wrote that story or something like that. Supposedly, I think he's a conservative.
Oh yeah.
I think so. I don't know. I don't know if that even changes it. I don't know if there's like conservatives or you have a conservative or liberal audience or something like that. But that was the other interesting thing about it is that he was different from a lot of the other mainstream writers.
Right.
But I heard that he was conservative, but I never read the books to see if that was even true.
I wanted to check those out, and actually, I know they made like a video game like based off Fables, and it looked really good too. So I've always wanted to check it out too. I think it looks like there'd be a lot of great creators that have worked on that series, and probably some really interesting stuff that you don't see in other mainstream books. And I think it's worth checking out for sure. I'm sure like at your library or something, if you can't find it at your comic store, you'll probably be able to rent it.
Fables is like one of those long running series that you probably won't read your whole life, maybe like Sandman. I would never get to it. I don't know. I don't have anything qualms with it either or. I'm not a big Neil Gaiman fan, but just things interviews I've heard and stuff, and but it has nothing to do with it. I'll read the comic, but I just never. I was like, oh yeah, let me go pick up Sandman. Never happened. Fable, same thing. There's the unwritten. There was like there's like these long running series that I'm like, what? Like I don't know. You never hear anything about it, but I never pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they found their niche like in their time, and then no one like really talks about it anymore, or just people that really love comics. They're like, I guess. I'm like, oh, okay, like I didn't know this was so beloved, or just they're not talking about it enough, or it's probably because it hasn't had a Netflix adaptation that people aren't talking about it. But once it gets that, everyone's like, do you remember that? And they're all like, yeah. Let's see. Ian Gannon says Moore's Leave an Extraordinary Gentleman is fun. That's one I still need to read too.
I haven't read that one.
I wanted to check that out. Duke Joint. I've only heard people say good things about Fables. Yeah, me
Mm.
too. Exactly. Like I haven't heard anyone
Yeah,
say.
I haven't heard anything bad about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's definitely worth checking out, and it's always daunting when kind of on this topic. Of course, like you hear about these really great series, but yeah, then you see how long they are, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to be able to like? That's what I've been doing with James Robinson and Tony Harris's Starman run. I picked like that was 80 issues, and uh,
Mm.
my comic book store was having a sale on all their back issues and stuff, and I got like a sweet deal. Like I basically got it like for half of how much it would be, um, and for 80 issues, and I've been reading it. It's been like really great, but I'm just like, oh man, I still got like, I still got 60 issues to go here. like,
Yeah.
like this is gonna be a task, but I'm excited. Like if it's good, you just eat it up, and that's the thing. Like
Hmm.
it might look daunting, but then when you start reading it, like it just goes out the window, and you're just totally into it. Let's see, I have a question from Johnny. Looking back on your journey with Seasons, are you happy that you decided to self-publish instead of pitching it? Oh, that's a great question, man. So we actually did pitch Seasons. Like I remember pitching it to certain publishers like Image and
Hmm.
who else did I?
We did that at the time, right? Did we
Yeah,
do?
we did that
Yeah.
like at the same time that we were like posting pages online on the website and getting it into like, getting it out there. I was sending emails to people, sending emails to different creators and trying to get it in and trying to, pitch it to other publishers. And many of them I just didn't hear anything back from. And I did, I did get a rejection letter from Image. I still have that, I think. But
Wait, what did they say?
they just said that it wasn't like it was kind of a stock rejection. It was just like the stock answer of
Oh,
this might not be something for us, but we appreciate you sending it in, and that kind of thing. And it's totally cool
not
too.
enough minorities. No, it's yeah.
Yeah, that's what they said. No, so I'm like to really answer the question, like I'm really happy that we self-published this. Like
Yeah, no, I'm really happy about that. Yeah.
yeah, like I think it was a really great decision, and a reason for that is everything's of course on our own time, but we don't have to cater to anything, and we don't have to worry about anything else except telling the best story that we have to tell. And um, you know a lot of people, we were kind of there right on the cusp of like when crowdfunding just started to become like the thing, or cool. It was still kind of like, does this actually work, for comics, like when we started
Yeah.
out. And then the crowdfunding scene and self-publishing has changed so much since we started Seasons. Like
Hmm.
it's just like a complete boom. Like everyone's going there, and now you see the major publishers going there. Which reminds me, I just picked up the book Keanu Reeves was a part of. I was doing with Boom. I need to read that, but like they went to Kickstarter and they made over like 1 million. Yeah, yeah. I just picked that up too. Sweet.
Yeah, I
um,
read it. Dude, it's so fast. You'll finish it like in a minute. It's a
yeah.
very quick read. It's very
um,
quick. Here, I'll
so
show you the last page. No, just kidding. Okay.
spoiler.
Yeah.
So like it's like this is kind of where everything's heading. A lot of people have said that, even publishers are going to crowdfunding and publishing their own stuff
Hmm.
through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and places. And so I feel like we were kind of ahead of the curve, ahead of the game, doing that with Seasons. And um, it's I think it's worked out in a lot of ways because we're learning about who likes our stuff, and we're finding our own audience. And really, it would have been a miracle if anyone, took seasons from the get-go. Like a lot of people don't get that lucky, and kind of knew that going in because this is our first book, the first thing that I've been writing, and so like no one knew of us, so it's kind of like, do you expect um, people to take it just right on the
Right.
whim, and a lot of
I'll
people
see you
do.
later, Bane Bear. Sorry, he
Oh
was
yeah,
just saying goodbye.
oh, you're good. See
See
you,
you later,
man.
dude. Thanks
Um,
for coming by.
so like, really, it kind of, if you're starting out, honestly, I think to like relieve yourself from all the worry and anxiety of like, or the validation that you feel like you need for your book that you're working on, just like don't worry about anyone else except publishing it yourself. Worry about the quality of the book. Um, that's all, the only thing you need to worry about. And then, uh, you know, give it away for free as much as you can online, and then crowdfund it, and then bring those books when you
Hmm.
have a couple out. Bring those books to editors and publishers, and like I sent volume 1 of Seasons to Image, like the physical book, because I was like, look what we've done. Like
Look what you
really,
missed out on.
yeah,
Look
exactly.
what you could have had. Yeah.
And so yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was
just
sick.
like, yeah, it's just like,
They're doing their own thing. They want to do their own
yeah,
thing.
and of course it's like, of course we'd love to, like, I mean, at least speaking for myself, of course we'd like to have a book, that's published under
Right.
Image. I mean, that'd just be cool. Like, but um, it's not it's not the only way, not the only path that you
Mhm.
have to take. And I know, see, we have Learner
Oh,
Bear.
what's
Hey,
up, Learner Bear? Yeah, here you go. So if you want to ask the writer anything, any questions, here he is, man.
yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, he was. So last time, Learner Bear, your questions, I had asked him, and we talked about it last stream. So if you ever want to catch that, we talked about it almost all of the whole stream
Yeah, it was
about
like half
writing.
of it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was about half the stream was talking about writing. But if you have any more questions, he's right here. But I was going
Yeah.
to say that also, I mean, yeah, at the time, I was so like, no, we got to self publish, screw all these other guys. And I kind of changed my tune a little bit if we ever do get it published someplace. But I think right now, but still, like I'm not against it or anything.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of like, it's kind of like it'd be cool, but like that's all it is. It's like, well, that'd be cool, but it
yeah,
doesn't.
if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and we're fine
Yeah.
with that because we found another way. And in order to be, and I've learned, dude, I've learned so much. We've learned so much from this whole process and stuff. So, um, we've learned so much from this whole process, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't have done it any other way because it's like at the time I was like, no, we're doing it this way, and but I wasn't against like giving it to Image because Image still it would have made us still able to do it whatever however we wanted to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, totally. I mean, and if you look at the way the process goes into like working with Image or other indie publishers, um, it's kind of exactly the same way we're doing it. It just doesn't have the Image distribution or the Image stamp on it because
mhm,
people funded themselves. I mean, and it's just that you have that backing and that promotional backing, and then putting it in previews and all
mhm,
the marketing that goes into it. That's really
mhm,
what you're really getting out of it. But when it comes to and that's why people love it, because it's like self-publishing your own book, or like to create your own book, but you just have Image, and everyone loves Image, so it's like this is a win-win for everyone. And but you don't necessarily need that if you are able to keep going at it, like we've been able to go, where it's like, be passionate about what you're doing. Don't feel like you're watching other people get bigger and they're doing so great, and like don't feel bad about how far you feel like you haven't come yet. Like it's like there's still more to go, and you just got to keep pushing it and pushing it. And we've been at this for like 4 or 5 years now, and we're getting the second book out, and it feels like a really long time, but it's incredibly satisfying because it's like we're doing it, like we're
Mm-hmm.
actually getting it done, and it's working, and it's been awesome. He has another question here. Thank you so much for replying. Sure, man.
Oh,
It's really interesting. One more question, if you have time. What's the biggest lesson you learned from seasons? What's something you wish you knew before you started? Wow. It's the biggest lesson that I've learned. Um, Man, not to belabor the point, but kind of it kind of goes back to that whole pitching thing where I remember being really worried about um, oh, if no one likes this, I shouldn't do it, or if no one picks it up, I shouldn't do it. It wouldn't be worth
mm,
all the energy and all the time and all the money and all of that. And that was like a big deal for me, where like if I wasn't getting the amount of success that I thought it deserves, because you really love what you're doing and you think it's a great book, and like I stand by that, of course. But like just because other people don't notice you doesn't mean that it's not good. It just means you got to get it in front of more people, and um, so there's that. Also, uh, just like pushing my own work in our stuff. Like I really wish that I would have started a YouTube show like when we started, but like
mm.
things were completely different then. And I've learned that's one thing where it comes to pushing your own book and doing all this stuff. You have
You
to
could
be,
have Scott McClouded, right? Just
yeah,
made something,
right,
and you didn't make anything, but
uh-huh,
you could have told everybody what to do,
right, right. I'm like,
and
this
now
is
you can. But now it's like it's different now.
right, and like if think about if we would have if I didn't know what I do now. Of course, like when I started doing this, we were talking about this before we came on. I was like 19, 18, 18, 19, and it's like I wasn't thinking about how to build my business. Like I mean,
Hmm.
that wasn't on my mind at all, because I'm like I just want to get published, and I just want to get like I just want to be a writer.
Right.
Uh, but I kind of realized that um, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to wait on other people. You can do it now.
Hmm.
So that's a really big thing. And so I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned. And that's something I wish I would have known before I started, was be like don't care about other people. Kind of like the mindset I guess you had, where it's like you don't really care about what other people are saying. You just want to do what you want to do. But because I think I remember when we were starting out, that was kind of what we were thinking about it. Like I remember you were way more, let's go the indie route, and I was more like, let's pitch it and then let's go the indie route. And I feel like, um, in hindsight, of course, it's like should have just been like, yeah, let's just go the full indie route. like who cares? Like let's not worry about that. But it's given me really good experience with learning how to pitch, and when you submit something to Image, you have to write down like a pitch document, and you have to tell them every single thing that your story is going to do. And I'm looking at seasons, and I'm looking at 4 volumes, and I'm like, okay, I have a pretty darn like good idea of like how this is going to end, what's going to happen in each volume, and how this is going to go. But also, I was like, how am I supposed to tell them like every single thing that's supposed to happen on one page?
Mm.
And I'm just like, that's hard. That's really difficult. And maybe that was the problem for them too. They're like, oh, this is like a really big series. We don't know if we want to like take this on right away.
Yeah. And
But
I was gonna
what
say
about
like,
you? Like, or yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, I was gonna say like the things that what is it? The biggest lesson you learned from seasons. It's like, it's like the biggest lesson I'm still learning. It's like it's just scheduling. It's just like it's
yeah,
so I'm such a bad, and it's like if you want to do anything in art, you want to do anything with publishing or writing or books or whatever you want to do this kind of stuff. If you're looking to do this kind of stuff, scheduling yourself to do it it's very, very important. If you don't schedule it, it doesn't get done. Then you'll always sort of like be in the floating around. You never know what you're doing. You're just like
right.
it's like the wind. You don't know what you're going to do. So usually I make a list, right? And then I have these things I got to check off that I got to do today between this time and this page has to get done today or something like that. If something else comes up, okay, so I got to move this around because either something is this is calling towards because this needs to be done because it's going to go into this other job or whatever. But it's just scheduling was the biggest lesson that I'm still learning, and I'm still just having a very hard time with this. So scheduling was like a big lesson.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like you just get frustrated, you get angry at yourself. I mean, I've got bags under my eye. You can see I'm like wrinkly. I think I'm balding.
That's all
I think I'm balding a little bit. No, it's like
seasons.
because of seasons. It's like seasons. It's like, well, just the comic book itself, just the comic stuff, and if you're like you got the story inside you and you got to let it out. You got to try. You got the art in you, and you want to get it out or something like that. It gets very, it gets very frustrating. You have bouts of like ups and downs and stuff like that. But scheduling yourself, if you schedule yourself, and you see things getting checked off that checklist, and you actually got it done that day, if you schedule yourself, you know how long something's going to take you to do. So you only have this amount of time to do it. When you get it done within that time, you feel good about yourself. You feel better, and on it goes. And sooner or later, like the stress and the and the pressure and all that kind of stuff will go away. And so I'm sort of in the middle, doing it because there's other things that I want in life. So like a family. So I can't I have to put that first before the comics and everything. But yeah, so scheduling is a very important lesson. If you don't get that down, your family life is not going to be good. Your spiritual life's not going to be good. Your comic book life's not going to be good. It's not going to mesh well. It's not going to go well.
Yeah,
and
right.
None of it's going to go well if you don't schedule yourself and learn that lesson in scheduling, and schedule yourself and stuff. Because you want all these things in life. If you want a family, if you don't schedule yourself right, that's going to go to the wayside.
Yeah.
So things are going to be neglected. Things aren't going to be, and then you got to learn how to step back. I think learning how to step back, dude. There's so many big lessons I've learned from doing all this stuff that it's still a hard time. It's still a hard thing to do, because there's like I'm trying to get better at just trying to get better at being an artist, I guess you could say. So I guess it's just that. But anyways. Yeah, so there's so many lessons that I've learned. So from doing seasons,
I think that's
the beginning.
I think that's a really great one, and like just scheduling. Not only what you're doing and what I'm doing, and then doing things together. Doing the stream together and scheduling like when we can get on and when we can do storyboards or when we can make a phone call, when we can do all this stuff. Life gets in the way, a lot of the time, and it can be like super, aggravating because you're like this is what I want to do, but like all this other stuff is just kind of in the way. All right, so let's see. Richard on Facebook. I was actually on one of his live streams when I was promoting. Really cool guy. Nandor, your show looks great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, trying to make it look legit.
Where'd you get this overlay?
Oh, my logo guy who did the logo for Foxhole Comics. I was like, hey, can you do streaming stuff too? Like, just kind of prodding him, and he was like, I'm sure I could figure something out. So we worked on it together and got it.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty sweet. Learner Bear, was Seasons a story that suddenly came to you, or was it something you always wanted to tell?
Yes,
So,
it kind of goes into that question.
yeah,
Like, so you got your idea, right? What was like what came to you suddenly? Like what was it like? Oh, this is the story. Like I want to,
right.
like this the big idea, like that big idea thing, that theme that we were that big idea stuff that we were talking about. Yeah, so it's like what suddenly came to you, and
Yeah, what was
yeah,
the lightning bolt that
yeah.
lightning bolt that struck me and hit me, and yeah,
Your
like
the soup that just created the human being. Like what was the lightning
what
bolt
was
that? Yeah,
what was the act of creation? Like so.
the retard fish that came out, the retard
um,
monkey fish that came out. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So like, man, I will say it was a story that suddenly came to me. And how it came to me, it's weird because I kind of want to say it's both, and that sounds kind of paradoxical, contradictory, but like,
And glib. No.
yeah,
There we go.
but
No.
it's like so. I knew I wanted to write comics. That's something I wanted to do, and I've talked about this on a lot of different shows I've been on. When people have asked me, how did you come up with this idea, and what inspired it, and all that stuff, and um, it was where I wanted to write comics, and I was looking at comics, and I was looking at superhero books, and I was thinking, what do I have to offer, like this medium? I was thinking about it in that way. Like I was thinking about it in a very,
You're on your knees in the aisle. Like, what do I have to offer you?
yeah.
No, no, go.
And I'm just like, as a writer, as a creator, it's like I want to stand out. I want to do something that isn't tropish. I want to do something that isn't like, this kid, a tragedy befalls this kid, and so he becomes a superhero, and so he, blah blah blah, and it just becomes the same thing because it's been done before. And so it's always been really important to me as a creator and writer to do things that haven't necessarily been done before, or at least not explored before enough. That I think there's some potential to get into, and um, it came down to, wouldn't it be awesome if there was a character, didn't necessarily have to be a superhero, but a character where like his abilities changed, and that was really like the hook of it. And I was like, that would be cool because, like, if you if you look at all your favorite heroes, you know what they can do, or your favorite villains, your favorite characters. Um, the rules have been set on their abilities and what they can do, and the kind of things that who they are as characters, and their powers and such. It's all very much like, this is what they do now. This is in history, and they can't do anything else. And so I thought, what if there was a character where it was completely unpredictable about the kind of stuff that he'd be able to do, and he was discovering all this, on his own. And I thought, sweet, like that's an interesting idea. How would that make sense? And then I thought, well, the world is always spinning, things are always changing, and I was like, seasons change, and I thought, what if someone's powers change based on the seasons of the year? And it was like, that's really cool. Like, like it just made me go, I want to explore that idea. And then it became the story that I've always wanted to tell. And that was like, and I don't want to spoil it because it's really at the heart of what Seasons is. And as you get to the final volume, when we eventually get to that, you'll figure it out. But it's a story about finding meaning in your life. Oh, my camera just went black. Why is that?
Yeah, your camera went off.
Yeah, I don't know why. Let me see here. Sorry about that, guys. I just had a power outage. I don't know. Let me see here.
Does it show that it's on?
Yeah, it's on. It's
Uh,
on. So yeah. Sorry about this, guys. Let me take myself out and bring myself back in real quick.
all right. It's incredible good advice. Also, Anthony O'Rourke, that mustache. Thank you. Yeah, the mustache gets gets a bad rap, but if you look back at history, a lot of good men. Awesome men, brave, courageous men. Also, a lot of warlords um, rock the mustache, and they were awesome. They crushed it live. They were legends, um, good and bad. So you can ask Nandor that if he can rock a mustache. I don't know if he can or not. I haven't seen him with one. I don't think he can actually grow any facial hair except in his ears. Um, he has really hairy ears. What is it? So I met him twice, and we always talk about that. We always talk about his ear hair, and right when I meet him, I was like, dude, like, because I'll hug him, and it tickles me, and God, it's so long. What other comics did you have in your background? So right here, so these are very like some of the stuff that's a lot of the stuff that's influenced me. So you see all the red numbers and everything right there. So that's Vagabond. That's the Takahika Inoi. That's the guy, manga artist who did Slam Dunk, and he was famous for that in the '90s. And then after that, he wanted to quit. He wanted to actually quit doing manga. He didn't want anything to do with it. I think it had to do with the job and how much time that he was spending doing it. Then he read a story about Oh, what's up, dude? You're back. There you go.
Yo, heck, hey,
Um,
I had to stop you before you
yeah, right.
talked about me even more.
Well, it's already out now, so can't
Oh
stop
man.
now. So then he read a book about Miyamoto Musashi, I think that's what it is, and there's a book about him, and I forgot what it's called. Something about the 5 rings or 5 something. Oh, he got kicked out again.
No, I'm here.
You're putting it on me.
Yeah, because you're talking about your comics, so I thought we need a better view here.
All right, and so he read that, and he created a whole story, and it's based on that guy and a lot of history that's in Japan, um, and and he sort of took a lot of liberties here and there to create these characters, and it's amazing. It's funny, it's heartbreaking, it's uplifting. It's just a great story. Same thing with Slam Dunk, and I'm not into basketball at all, and it's this basketball thing. It's a basketball story, and those are just and I read that that's more adult than Slam Dunk is, but Slam Dunk, it has so many levels of just great storytelling and jokes, and it's the funniest thing I've ever read. It's probably the funniest manga I've ever read in my life, and some of the funniest things I've read. I just love that book so much because it's really about masculinity and men, and but it's a bunch of boys in high school, and the way that they deal with one another in this hierarchy, like gammas and alphas and betas, and how they all deal with each other, and it's amazing. And then he comes out with this one right here. It's more adult, but it's like it still has the same themes about just it has such an overwhelming like I don't know, it's I don't know, you feel good. You just feel good reading it. It's a very happy story. It's a very interesting, heartbreaking story, and you feel good after reading it. It's very good. Anyways, but so that's Vagabond, and all the things that it's influenced me. Is Evangelion. That was one of the first mangas I've ever read when I was a kid. Um, I have Akira right there. It really influenced my art. And then I have like Jason Brubaker's Remind and his Sithra books there, and Earthworm Jim. So Deck to Naples, Earthworm Jim is right there. And then just other authors and stuff, like Terry Goodkind, who's one of my favorite writers. David Gemmell, he's my number one favorite writer. You want to read anything great, fantasy, heroic fantasy, better than anything Game of Thrones ever done, or anything like that. Anything that's the Game of Thrones that should have been made. Right there, but no one's ever heard of him, and you have to know why. Why isn't he famous? So, but you look at David Gemmell, Regate series, and all the other stuff. So I have all the stuff up there, just right there. And but yeah, so it's all the stuff that's influenced me story wise and why I create, why I do what I do. But anyways, that was while you were gone.
Oh yeah, no, sorry about that. I don't know what that was. You know, it just has to happen when we're streaming and not any other time.
Oh, heart. Thank you. Learner Bear is very good at when I am stumbling and fumbling around. He has a good way of just coming out with like to help me with that. Like, and that's how the Bears do that. The Bears help out with that. They always find the words for me.
I wanted to get back to try to answer your question better, and so like when it comes, what I was gonna say was the heart of seasons is trying to find meaning in your life and where you find that, and I think it's gonna kind of surprise people, the kind of themes and things you're going to see as you progress, and you'll see some of that in volume 2 of Seasons. You see some of that come out even more, but it's a character arc. It's a character arc from getting to the lowest point in your life to a point where you feel like you can breathe again, and you can live again in a competent way, in a better way. And there we go. So like.
I can't.
Yeah, like look at that. He starts out depressed in bed and he doesn't want to wake up and go to work. I mean that's a lot of people. That's where we all are in a lot of ways. And that's really thinking about your day and how what would make you not want to get up in the morning? Like what's so bad that you wouldn't want to get up in the morning? And so like it takes that and just becomes more of a meta narrative of that idea, and it's like how do you live a better life, and how do you take all the pain that you've experienced and the trauma that you've had and find redemption, and not necessarily relying on other people to do that either. You have to really what do they say? The bootstraps phrase that everyone says. It's like you gotta stand up straight, and you gotta take life on and don't let it take you out. And so, but how Fletcher, the main character, goes about that in this character arc, it's all exploring different points of view in that area and looking at how really it's a struggle. It's a struggle to get to that point, and there are people that are going to be in your way. You're going to be in your own way, and nature is going to be in your way, and everything is going to tell you should give up. But how do you not give up? And so that's what Seasons is looking at, and it's about change. It's about changing to become a better person, and learning what that looks like and how you find that. And I think it's going to surprise people, the kind of answers that we give, and it's not it sounds very inspirational and like self-reliant and like all that stuff, but it's more than that, and you'll see why. But yeah, look at that art, and man, volume 2 is gonna look doper.
We got to do like a contest, because I put a movie reference in this page here. Okay, so in this page, this is page 9, I think. No, that's not page 9. That's like page 11 or 12. Wait, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11. It's page 11. So on page 11, I put a movie reference. He's watching something, and if anyone can identify the movie that he's watching, we got to think of a prize, like something that you can get a free book, or they can get some art or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd
be cool. Like I got to figure that out.
Yeah, and this will kind of plug this. Guys that are watching, like, please subscribe, to Foxhole Comics on YouTube, and subscribe to this channel so that when we do these streams and we do giveaways and we do things like that, you guys can be in on it. And because I'm definitely going to be doing giveaways, and that can be one. But also when we hit certain subscriber numbers, I'd love to be giving away books and giving away really cool stuff that we have, and I think it'd be awesome. Like if we hit 1,000 subscribers, maybe we'll give away an original page, or if we hit, like just depends. Depends on how we do and how this is going. But I really think.
But who would you give the page to if they hit 1,000 subscribers?
Well,
you just start a giveaway.
Yeah, well, it'd be a giveaway, but like it would be like someone who, we would create the rules for it, but it's like, look at, you have to comment on every video or like every video or like something that we do, the last, like if we do a stream, if you're someone who's, been on the last 5 live streams and been asking questions and talking, you're qualified for that or something, so like. So yeah, like everyone pay attention, to what we're doing, because we have some cool stuff, and there's some awesome original art that I definitely want to show off, during one of the streams, of course. And Anthony and I were talking about this on the last stream, but like when we get, it might have been behind the scenes, but when we get volume 2 here, we're gonna do an unboxing and like, just like experience it with everyone for the first time and be like, holy crap, this is going to be awesome. So let's see here. Juke Joint says, Sword of Truth. Yep, that's the series.
Yep, that's the series. That's the one there. It's like one of those stories again that like it kind of fell off towards the end, like towards the end of it. It just got way too like I think atheistic for me. The guy's a total atheist, but it didn't matter. It was like early on in the story. It just kind of turned eventually to that, and then but in the whole beginning it wasn't that it was preachy or Christian or something like that. It was just like it was just very good telling about a heroic story. It was just a very good relationship. It's a good romance story as well. A very good talk about truth. It's like his whole series. It's like the talking about truth. Like what is truth? Like that was it. And so it's just very a downer that it ended sort of like an atheistic way, but it is what it is. Yeah. It's still a good story. I learned a lot.
Yeah, Johnny says there's some great references talking about and stuff. Yeah. And Pops, he's a part of Comic Related Madness. It's a Facebook group that I'm a part of, and they've been really supportive of seasons on there. I've been sharing like campaigns on there and stuff. And he does these conventions called CromCon, and like every month, and different indie creators can go on there and stream and talk about their projects and things they're working on and all that stuff. So really, really cool guy and a cool group. And so yeah, what's up, Pops? Thanks for watching, and everyone go like Comic Related Madness on Facebook and hang out with those people because they're really cool. Travis Gibb, good to see you two handsome men doing comics. Thank you. I'll take it. It's only the morning time too. I just look better as the day goes on. So let's see. Juke Joint says I couldn't get past book 5. 1 was amazing. 2 was good.
Yeah. Gratch. Yeah.
Oh, Gratch. Yeah. Right. The Monster
Gratch was awesome. Yeah. It's when you get up to book. I think it's the Naked Empire or something like that. It's like book 7. I think that's what that is. It's great. Book 7 was awesome, and then around book 8 they kind of turned the story a little bit, and it goes in a different direction, and then it starts to fall apart with the last one, Phantom, Chainfire, Confessor. Those last 3 books, you kind of wave in and out. It took me a little while to finish them, but because you just like, you got to finish it. You just go. When all this, but there's some epic scenes. I'm telling you, like that guy has it all figured out. It looked like he had everything constructed from beginning, middle, and end. He had these great ideas, and he just got to that big idea, and then he goes to the next. Then the big idea, the way he constructed that, it was just awesome. I'm not saying he's like the best fantasy writer or something like that either. It just like again, like we were talking about how art and bigger than the artist kind of thing. There was so many good things about those books. That just like he just wanted to be like that Richard Cipher,
Right.
He wanted to be like him. but he got pretty far. Book 4 was pretty epic and stuff, but yeah, I forgot what book five was. I think 5 was a little too long. Anyways.
Yeah. Got another question from Johnny. What's your favorite comic book or favorite series of multiple issues? Oh man.
Oh geez, dude.
Yeah,
you just gotta choose.
This is a hard question.
Choose 3. Choose 3 if you have to.
Your favorite comic book?
I guess just start with 3. See what you come up with.
Seasons.
Yeah, right.
Lifeline, and Man-Child. No, so like my favorite series. Okay, so and Anthony knows this, of course. I've talked to him about this a lot, but anything Jonathan Hickman does, I'm pretty much on board for, and I will read it. I'm reading X-Men right now that he's writing, and I've really been enjoying it. I think it's exploring more obscure characters than ever before, and making them cool, making them likable, and also he's doing it really good. Something Hickman's really good at, and he did this with Fantastic Four, but making characters feel like family, and like family is a really big important thing for him. I see it as a theme, at least in a lot of his stories and his Avengers stories that he's done, Fantastic Four, now X-Men. He likes looking at characters and relationships and having them feel like a family, and like they're together in this. And I think it's a really optimistic and a heroic viewpoint, and family is really important when it comes to life, and I think Hickman does a great job at that. That's something he did so well with Fantastic Four. But so his New Avengers series, specifically New Avengers, he wrote Avengers and New Avengers, and they came out. He did that for a couple of years, from like I think 2014 or 2015 to like 2017 or something. It ended with Secret Wars. It was a big event that they did, but specifically, see if you can find New Avengers anywhere. Anything that's Hickman, that's New Avengers, and I'm just gonna like give a little pitch for it because it's freaking cool. Where you have so they're called the Illuminati, and every character in this group called the Illuminati. You have Mr. Fantastic represents the Fantastic Four. Captain America represents Avengers. Iron Man is there as well with Cap. Beast from X-Men, or Professor X, depending on when you started learning about the team. You have Black Panther, represents like Wakanda. You have Black Bolt, represents the Inhumans. So like every corner of the Marvel universe is represented by these characters, and they're a secret group that no one knows about, that they exist, and they basically kind of decide on the biggest issues that are threatening Earth or the universe. And so it's like the Illuminati, where it's like you have that conspiracy or that idea where it's like someone's running the show, and these characters are kind of running the show or doing things behind the scenes that other heroes and people don't know of. So they're lying to their family, and they're lying to their friends about being a part of this team, and it explores morality in such a cool way that a lot of comics I haven't seen done before. And
Hickman, is writing this.
Yeah.
And I mean, how old is this book? How old is this series?
It came out about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. So what they're doing,
because that's the first time. Thinking to myself, I'm like, it explores morality in what did you say? An interesting way.
Yeah, it's an interesting exploration of morality, because they're having to lie to their friends and family about being a part of this group, and so they're lying about it, but they're supposed to be heroes, and also so that's bringing them as a team, and also they have to. So it's what they're called incursions, and so other universes or Earths are colliding with ours, and they have to decide to either save our Earth, um, or and if they save our Earth, what they have to do is destroy that Earth. So they're basically committing genocide, and so they're like, how can we commit genocide when we're supposed to be heroes and we're supposed to like take care of, it's like, what's the greater good here, and so they have to deal with that, and they have to deal with this on multiple times throughout the series. It only ran for about I think like 30 or so issues, but it was completely amazing. It was everything that I've ever like wanted to read about when it comes to being a hero and really putting that on trial. And so and you see these characters just like get heartbroken about making these really tough decisions about, do you save your own family? You see these families on these other Earths, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because, like this is the stakes are so high. They're just so grand, and they're on a multiversal like level. Like they have to think about the entire multiverse, and it's just this like big, like it just goes into like awesome, cool like sci-fi ideas and exploration of morality and what it means to be a hero. And a lot of the team members are like, I'm not committing genocide, and then you have a few other team members that are like, we have to, and you're just like, you get that conversation and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is really awful that they have to like fight each other, and they do that. There's a lot of infighting and a lot of too. So that's a long answer, so I'm not going to talk about any more comics that I love. It's a really long answer, but
see you later, Learner Bear. He's heading out.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in, man. Really appreciate it, and come join us again when we do our next stream.
Yeah, dude.
So so Johnny, like, read New Avengers by Jonathan Hickman. Anything you see by Hickman that you see at the comic book store, just pick up and read it, because it's going to be good.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, I was trying to think of because I know that because I've been reading a lot of comics, and a lot of them are just like. They're pretty old, like older ones. I'm reading a lot of 90s comics, like going back and just going through the old bins and reading a bunch of stuff there. But one of the series that I always kind of reread, I always go back and reread, but it's always the first 4 books. I think there's like a 6-7 book series, something like that. It's the Sin City, Frank Miller's Sin City.
Yeah.
So Frank Miller's Sin City, book 1, 2, 3, 4. I always like go back and reread those. Love those books. I can't believe that it's like I always go. Nothing is like this, like anywhere. So whenever you read like a Frank Miller, whenever he's on his best, or he's at his best, it's like, and then like the Daredevil one that he did, the birth, reborn or born again.
Yeah,
oh, man,
dude. Yeah,
I couldn't believe. I was like, So Frank Miller's Sin City and Born Again, Daredevil Born Again, was amazing.
I agree with you completely. Anyone who hasn't read like Born Again, like you need to.
Yeah, it's a very good book. And then the other one was like, I was trying to like throw manga in there or something, which was Slam Dunk. I already mentioned it earlier. Slam Dunk. It's like a 32-volume series. Oh, it's just so good. It's so good. But I wouldn't have picked it up because first it's called Slam Dunk. It's like just a stupid name.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you hadn't told me about it, right. Besides reading, I've read some of Vagabond and really liked it. So I would be interested in what he's done, but I'd also look at that and be like, this isn't Vagabond, This isn't the same thing.
But if I didn't read Bakuman first, like Bakuman is the guys who created Death Note. It was their second series, and it's just about making manga. And it's not the best story, but Bakuman is pretty good. I read it all the way through. I've reread it like twice.
Yeah,
Okay, how far are you again? How far are you? What volume on?
yeah, I'm on volume, like, I think I'm on like 8 or 9 right now.
Oh, okay, good. I was afraid you were going to say like, oh, four still or something,
Yeah, no.
but you got pretty
No.
far. Okay, so you're pretty
Yeah,
far.
I'm still reading it, and I've been meaning to keep up with it, and that's something that I'd love to talk about.
Yeah,
Like,
we should actually dedicate a whole stream or something like that
we
to
should,
break
yeah,
down
because
Bakuman.
it's so good. I've learned so much about making comics, or I mean manga, but it's like, same thing really. It's like
Right.
collaboration and all of that, and like, it's been so good, and it's hilarious, and
Oh
like,
yeah,
I
no,
love
it's
it.
yeah,
I
it's
love it.
good. And also, it was like I wouldn't have picked up any other manga if I didn't read Bakuman, because Bakuman tells you, explains all these different things. Like they understand the goofiness that they do and the exaggerations and the overdramatic stuff that they do, and then it influenced my art so much. Now, like I want to like this was before seasons and stuff, so
Yeah.
like before I like no sorry, it was after seasons. I started reading all this stuff and I was like, oh man, I wish I would have done seasons like this or something, right? Like I wish I'd done it. So I'm sort of doing that a little bit now. I'm
Hmm.
changing things up like panel wise and messing around with certain ideas and everything as I'm doing seasons now in the last like year and a half or so. Um, but um, but but Bakuman really influenced everything about me reading manga. So I got past a lot of the prejudices I guess I had against reading manga. It's for kids and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it is. It is. I remember Doug
Right.
Tenaple. Doug Tenaple kind of did like a little. He joked on me where I was on the stream with him, and I go, "Oh, do you read manga?" He goes, "Oh, well, I would have gave it. I tried to get. I gave one to my kid." And you're like, I'm like, hey, it's like, well, anyways, but I get it. I can see that's a perception that you get with it. But anyways, so leading into Slam Dunk. Now, Slam Dunk sounds like a stupid name, but if you just read the story, right, in the first chapter, right, you understand what Slam Dunk. It has this huge meaning to everything from the beginning to the end. Slam Dunk is so important.
Oh
And it's
wow,
so
that's
funny.
cool.
It's so funny. Like just the name itself. Like he wants to do a slam dunk. You have to read the evolution, like the story, how it progresses, and
Yeah.
him and slam dunk. It's like the perfect name. It was perfect. It was like slam dunk. It's stupid. It sounds stupid, but it's actually like it's so integral to the story. It's like just thinking about it now, man. It's like I'm rereading it right now, and I don't have all the volumes. Uh, what is it? I got like 20 volumes or something, but
Hmm.
I finished the story, gone through it obviously, and but oh my god, like so. Anyways, it sounds like a stupid name, but it's very very important to the whole thing. It's such
Yeah.
a good story. It's such a good exploration again about like it's like the guy who writes it. I mean, he has such a I don't know. The guy who writes it. He's very different from any other manga creator. That's the main thing. It's like whenever anybody tells me like, oh, this is a hilarious manga. Okay, so I read it and it's not that funny. It's okay. I mean, like there's some kind of funny parts. It's rare that I really find something that's like really funny. Like as you go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like anything in mainstream today, I haven't read a lot of manga. I haven't like read like tons of it, but I read more than most. I'm pretty like in there. But there are very famous manga that are really funny that probably I haven't read or anything. But Slam Dunk is hilarious. It's just so funny every step of the way, because it's like a coming of age, high school story about this
Yeah.
guy who's just like a completely gamma, self-obsessed, self-absorbed, not pretentious, but he's so into himself, oblivious to everybody else. And then you have all these people who are like, one's an alpha, one's a leader, one's like a like an omega who just doesn't care about anything.
Yeah.
And you see how they duel with each. Oh my god, it's just so funny. So Slam Dunk, pick up the series, get the first manga at least, and
Yeah.
buy that and read it. And trust me, it's so good. It's just so good. It has all the 90s manga jokes and all the weird faces and ridiculous humor and all that kind of stuff. But I read Bakuman and now I understood it. So now when I was face to face with it and all this stuff, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I get why they're doing this. I see this now. I go, aha. Anyways, so those are their 3 series, I guess. That
that's good.
Started with.
That's good, man. Like that's something I could talk about literally all day. I mean, anytime that I meet other comic book fans or fans of manga and other creators and stuff, it's like we could talk about our favorite stories like for hours and hours. It's just like it's exciting. I mean, like because when it's that good, you want to share it with people, and you're like, please, read this, and maybe that's something we could do sometime where like maybe we do like a manga series or stream or something where we like go through different manga and like check it out. That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
So Juke Joint says Daredevil is the only real superhero I love. That's awesome, man. Like, hey, my brother, that's like one of his absolute favorite characters, and I love Daredevil too. I mean, you can explore things with Daredevil that you can't do with other characters, partially because, of course, of him being blind and using that and making that a really cool identity for the character of how he perceives things, and then also him being a Catholic, having a person of faith and going through what he's gone through and how he tries to justify being a vigilante while also, going to confession. It's really good stuff, and a lot of interesting themes and concepts can be explored with him. He also asked, how do you approach the composition of each page when drawing?
Let's see. Okay, well, you can put that up.
Yeah.
So, how do you approach the composition of each page? I know it's like there's the page, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I start out. Everything starts out with like I get a script, and it's like whatever is kind of speaking to me. Like I have that reel in my head, right? I have that movie going on in my head, right?
Yeah.
And usually there's the first thing, the first glimpse. Usually it's like the words will be inspired, and like I'll go, oh, this right here, this is exactly the scene I was waiting for. But most of the time, I storyboard it out. I always just kind of pencil it out, and so this was penciled right from the beginning, and that was just like the first stage of it, right? So once I put I put this little sketch that I do on in the computer or whatever, and I'm drawing over it, and then that it doesn't stop there, because again, as I'm drawing, other things come up. Like, see this whole scene right here where like the lake right here, there's like a little light coming up, and I thought that'd be pretty cool. Just things like that. Oh, then have like a little blurry edges here, the blurry tree falling over there and the side and everything.
Yeah, right in the top corner there. I love the reflection on the lake. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, and I'm always thinking, we talked about this last stream, where I'm always trying to think about what can I do differently, because there's lots of scenes that are repeated where Heath is flying to whatever, Heath is flying to this, and so not to say anything bad about the story, it's just like whatever it calls for it, like so and so's missing, so he has to go check it out here and check out here. So he's looking, he's searching, and so there's a lot of like or they're running together, and Heath's flying or something, and so okay, what can I do differently now that I hadn't done before, or if I'm going to repeat it, how can I do this or something? And so I was like, okay, I hadn't done a reflection. I'm like, oh, that'd be pretty cool to do the reflection on it. But anyways, it just starts out with just like a basic thumb. Do a little sketch, thumbnail, and then as I'm creating it, as I'm just like drawing the page, ideas come up, like from whatever. Sometimes I flip through comic books. I just kind of like grab something. Like these are just like animation books. Well, I guess I don't have to show it or anything, but I grab animation books sometimes, and and they do usually panel for panel for each cell that they do, and I like to see like the movements and the cartoony stuff that they do. If there was any specific thing like how he was positioned himself when he was like he's flying, instead of it just being like standard, it looks like he's just standing, but it's just but he's flying. Or does he have a knee up? Is there a particular way to do it? So I just flip through things like I go through comic books. I grab the Kindle stuff, and I go through that too with comics. And but generally I just flip through a bunch of things, and I don't necessarily, and this is what happens too, is like I don't copy necessarily what is there. I just sort of, sometimes like an image just I get it just helps me something appears. I just go, oh, okay, maybe I could do it like this. This right here helped me kind of construct this. Like it's not going to look like this. I'm not going to copy this here and put it there.
Right.
I just suddenly I got an idea. It helped me kind of fish out something, and help me see this, that maybe I'll do this but in a different angle or something like that. It's like that. But that's generally it. I mean, and then I'll take reference. This was me. I have a stool here. So I have a stool, and I just laid on top of it, and I stuck my legs up, and I recorded myself doing that, and that was it.
That's so cool.
And then I had to make up the cape. I don't have like a fan. If I had a gigantic fan that could blow hard enough to do that, to grab the back of my coat, and bring it up like that, that'd be great. Oh man, I made so many cool cape images. And then same thing here. I just turned the camera around, and there I was. I just put my arms out, or I did this, or I did different things. I do different things. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool if I do this. And sometimes, like I like to take the photo. Usually, I took this from like Sean Gordon Murphy, where sometimes the head is not in the right place, but it looks kind of cool. Like it looks really comic booky. So sometimes, if you're taking reference, try not to make it look like you just traced it, but like make it look like your style, like whatever, and like make it not look so realistic. This is a comic book. Exaggerate it. Maybe I think I put his head a little too high here, but put his head a little lower or than it should be or something. And anyways, but so that's what I was trying to do there, and that was it. And these are all just like I just saw pictures, and I just started drawing everything, and then I used like tree
kind of
brushes or something.
Not to interrupt or anything, your thoughts, but also kind of on that question, something that I think would be cool to talk about is the way you have the panels laid out, like how did that, because they're not all, and we talked about this again on the last stream and before too, but like they're not just all straight boxes, and they're the top one is, but everything else is angled, and it has a different the image increases at a certain side, or it's more off kilter, and there's more of an intentional direction that you're having it look. Like how does that come to you when you're putting together a page?
So I'm going to answer this question, but it's got to be the last question because I got to head out.
Okay. Yeah. All
right. So with this here, so I'm trying to like when it's tilted like that, when it's like when I'm doing that, I'm really trying to be intentional on like why I chose this or something. So like see like the tiny panel here and stuff. It's just like it kind of does give you that feeling of like twitch. It's like
it does. It's like a snap, like a camera.
Right.
Like a click
and so
I guess
so. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to just like do little things like that, and then here it's just sort of like it kind of feels like the scene is kind of falling because it's like okay, like he's it's changing. The mood's changing, and like he's getting. You could tell that Aiden is getting hurt. Like he feels sad.
Yeah.
Like and then it just sort of like it kind of zooms in a little bit. He turns around and and then like we're not focused on the background or anything like that anymore, and so I'm trying to change the mood, like changing the panels like that, tilting it off, like going off kilter here. And so, and then just stuff like this. It was just like how this sort of, when Aiden's jumping here, it just looks like it's kind of popping off to the side. It looks like he jumped off. So he's jumping, he's running towards the end of the log here. He's jumping off towards the end of the log right here. And you see this panel, it looks like it just kind of scooted out, just kind of popped out of the side. Yeah. And it just things like that. I'm trying to get a feeling of that. Like when you see, this isn't just for like, I don't know, I just wanted to be really different. It's that and more, I guess, and just same thing here. And
that was a page that, I was going to bring up when we were thinking, looking at different pages. Like, I love the panel 2 there with like Fletcher, like just how you just see his eye and like the shape of his face, like that's awesome. Like that's so cool. And
you see his eye, a little reflection there.
Yeah,
it looks, and that came off looking like really. I didn't think it was going to look like that, but I was like, oh, that actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, dude.
I was really happy with that.
Oh yeah.
And then this right here, this was the other thing too, where I was kind of like experimenting with this. Was like here he's yanking him. Oh, I just noticed too, dude. I didn't fix that. See that up there in the corner?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I moved the square here, and it looks like I didn't do something right here. I think I was using the marquee tool. I was selecting it, and then I didn't finish off. I didn't like rub this all down here. Anyways, but I'll fix that later. What was I doing? Oh yeah, and so you see this this little panel here that comes off to the side where it shows the mantis dying.
Uh-huh.
And then you see him kind of like, it looks like he's like kind of hunched over here, and then he just kind of falls back. And so I was just like, it's another like, just kind of like I want us to focus in on right there, and then the way the panel kind of pops out. It's another one of those things that just kind of pops off to the side, and then you see it come out like that, and and it's just like the way it's. Just trying to be really more intentional with it, and same thing with here. And this is like kind of just like
those 4 bottom panels. That reminds me a lot of some of the stuff we did for Volume 1. There's a. I'm pretty sure I can think of it real quick. Let me see here. Yeah, so like, and I'll zoom in on. I just found it in the book real quick. Reminds me of right here, or right there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
almost so looks too similar.
No. Like that's like, I think that's really cool because what it's doing is it's like, this is your style, and also like this is the style of the book, and these are the things that we're doing, and also if you love Volume 1, you'll love Volume 2, and that's why it's always good about consistency. Doing the stuff together and seeing like how much we've done and how everything is connecting and looking good, and that page is all all this stuff. We can go into all this, but we'll probably close it for today. We gotta go, but thank you guys so much for all your questions and for watching us today. This was so much fun. I can't wait to do it again. And so real quick, just to let everyone know, Seasons Volumes 1 and 2 is on Indiegogo right now, and we've picked up a couple more backers since our last stream. So
sweet,
that's really cool. Yeah. So check it out on there. You can get Volumes 1 and 2, and they're both hardcover, over 100 pages. You just saw some of the art that's going to be in Volume 2 and Volume 1 that we've already made. So really good stuff, and get your books, guys. Like, this is really cool and really good to be a part of, and you're going to love it. So please go back and on Indiegogo, and Please subscribe to this channel if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. Go to Foxhole Comics and subscribe. Really appreciate it. Going to be doing more of these streams, putting out content, and keep engaging with you guys. So thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you later.